So this video is basically video identification of plants. As I mentioned in my forest structure videos, I took several plant identification courses and botany courses. I took both vascular plants and non-vascular plants in the University of Costa Rica. And then I took Flora de Costa Rica, which is plants of Costa Rica, and then dendrology, which is trees of Costa Rica. And through botany, I really did not do extremely well, but I did really well in my flora and dendrology courses. And later, I basically was a plant guru when it came to plant identification in the field, because I just, for whatever reason, I had like the eye to try to determine a lot of structures in the forest. There's a book called The Gentry. Al Gentry, he was a famous botanist that died in a plane crash with Ted Parker, a famous ornithologist, also tropical ornithologist. They both specialized in South America, and that book at the time was like the Bible of tropical plants, because they give you a lot of keys on how to find them. It is, it's also a time that I really enjoyed in my life, the whole going into the forest and trying to name everything that we would see. I basically had a little bit of an advantage when it came to tropical plants, because my mom used to take me all the time to the field, and I have photographic memory, so I remember a lot of the plants that she was showing me as a kid. So since I was a kid, I had all this exposure to the plants in the forest and in the highlands where she used to work. And I'm especially fond of highland plants, alpine and subalpine plants. So really, when it comes to plants, the first thing that I usually do, there's a lot of keys, is like I try to determine what I'm looking at. Am I looking at something that's woody or non-woody? I think that's like the first real way to divide it. Like a lot of people use flowering or non-flowering, but this is just very, very problematic, because a lot of trees could be in a non-flowering season. Obviously, if you're in a flowering season, it's a lot easier if you get a sample of the flower. The flower will basically reveal a lot of misconceptions about what you think that the plant is once you see the flower. But most of the time we don't have flowers, so we just have to rely on what we see, which are just basically leaves and stems and barks. So basically, when we see a stem, we try to determine, basically I always try to go to the stems. I try to determine two major things. Is it alternate or opposite? And this is opposite, the stem in the middle. Alternate is like stem, one side plant, one side going out into a leaf, stem one side, another side going out into a leaf. So that's alternate versus opposite, which is both leaves join at the same place. And also there's an issue with the leaves. The leaves could be compound or simple. So compound leaves basically have they're basically little leaflets that form a large leaf. For example, the legumes or the bean family has a lot of very simple leaves that are not really categorized as a whole leaf. And many times the whole leaf will be just probably 100 little leaflets or less than that. Then we usually look at the shape of the leaf, if it's elongated, palmated, etc. We try to smell it. So leaves that smell quite a lot are usually bean, like for example the bean family has like a very beany smell. The Meliaceae, the mahogany family, has like a definite smell, and usually you don't pick up the smells until you spend some time in the field, and then you associate smells, but they're just kind of hard to determine. There's obviously lime trees have a very citrusy smell, and it's just very easy to determine what is the smell of a lime. Then we get into more complicated examples, such as, for example, Rosaceae is the rubus. The blackberry family has a non-pungent smell. It's just very nondescript. Then we have lianas, for example. So lianas are just a whole on its own. So one of the most conspicuous lianas of the rainforest are the aroids or Ariaceae, and this is where we get, I believe it's called philodendron, and then we get monstera, which is the large cut tiger's paw that is like this that we usually think about when we're thinking about the forest. We have the largest trees of the forest are in the family called Bombaceae. These are the ceibas, Ceiba pentandra. And many times when we think about the Latin name, something such as pentandra, it's penta is 5, andra it's male, so it's the 5